Scott, you can stick around. Okay, or not. Or not. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Caledonia Township Planning Commission meeting for February 16th, 2026. Call to order, Clement.
Here.
Bradshaw.
Here.
Eberly.
Present.
Donovan.
Present.
Cutler.
Here.
Curtis is here. Absent is McLean with notice. We have a meeting agenda in front of us. Anybody have any changes to the meeting agenda? If not, I will take a motion to approve.
Motion. Support.
Motion by Eberly, support by Bradshaw. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have an agenda. At this point, we have a public comment period, brief, up to 2 minutes for any item on the agenda. I would like to point out that item 6B is not a public hearing. So if you would like to speak about the item 6B, the preliminary, it's on the site condominium request, now would be a great time to do that.
Now.
And if you were here for the meeting before, just give us your name and the street you live on. And 2 minutes. I will give you the 1 minute.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Susan Demuse, and my address is 7701 92nd Street, Caledonia. My husband and I have lived on 92nd Street for well over 30 years. My country neighbor and I have enjoyed the beauty of 96th Street on our many walks. We look forward to the trillium blooming in the spring and enjoy the trees and other foliage in the summer and fall. We pass by the natural beauty sign on the side of 96th Street each time we walk. I was wondering why the natural beauty designation has largely been ignored after the sale of the farmland. Immediately, trees were slashed down and vegetation destroyed. Now, with the additional building of these condos, the natural environment that the designation is meant to protect will be further eroded. Please let me remind you of the criteria for designation of natural beauty roads, number 3 and number 5. Roadside development. Qualifying roads should preferably have no development along them, but such development as exists at the time the road is designated should be compatible with the surroundings and should not detract from the natural, unspoiled character and visual impact of the road areas. 5, function of the road. Normally, the existing road should function as a local access road or as a road serving those wishing to travel for the purpose of enjoying its natural beauty features. We've already noticed a marked increase of traffic and the speed in which they travel on 96th Street and Alaska. I find that is not conducive to a leisurely enjoyment of nature. Along with growth in Caledonia, let us also preserve our natural beauty that makes this community a wonderful place to live. Perfect time, huh?
Perfect timing.
Thank you.
And as before, please hold the applause, cheers, jeers, free zone, because there may be somebody that is sitting here that is your neighbor that does like this. Remember, we are all community members together, and we will see each other at the ice cream shop when it turns, well, I guess it was warm enough today to do that. So we all have to live with each other, so please keep that in mind. Would anyone else like to public comment? 2 minutes. You can speak about anything, any agenda item. Going, okay. Hi.
Hi, I'm Brittany Story. I live on 9475 Sanborn Avenue. And my property is the 10 acres that adjoins the 26 acres. So I have 2 questions that I would like further explanation of. The first is the wetland and water management aspect of this potential road. the area that the road would be is a creek and a ravine and also a wetland. So I imagine that that area would have to be built up quite a bit in order to support a road, which then where all that water would go would probably be onto my property. So I would like further explanation on the wetland preservation and water runoff situation. Also, a further explanation of the distance that the road would have to be from my property line, because as I saw it today, I believe it was set up to be 20 feet from my property line. So I just wanted a further explanation on if there's any regulations for that distance of the road from existing property line. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Bont?
Tom Bont, 7850 Sanborn Court. Safety concerns as far as the road goes and consideration for walkers, as Mrs. Demuse already talked about. And the other thing is, even if this one goes forward, there's 6 other large tracts on 96th Street that total over 100 acres. So at what point does the natural beauty road, that's basically a lane and a half at different spots, become a problem? You know, who do you say no to? You say yes to this one, but then what about the next one and the next one? Because there could be 50 extra homes. It's a lot of cars, a lot of e-commerce trucks going up and down that road. And it's not a flat road. If you've never been out there, it's hilly, has some nice little twists and turns. So just pray that you'd be mindful of that. And also on a specific note, with a development like this and with some of the new houses that have already gone in, I have a question on where the trash cans are going to go. Because right now, some of the new houses, the trash cans are on 96th Street, and that's a problem. With 1 or 2 houses, it'd be a really big problem with potentially whatever it is, 8, 9 houses. So just a note on that. And maybe they pick up at the houses in a situation like this. I don't know, but just asking the question. And then as far as the property survey and stuff, I just had a question as far as like if the property gets surveyed in total, like property line survey, or just corners for the entire parcel, or just corners for the units. Just trying to get an idea of where that's at, because the developer who bought this before and cut all the trees down, as was mentioned, they thought the property line was the fence. It is not. There's only one place on my property which covers about 1,000 feet of this, where it touches, the property line touches the fence. After that, the fence heads to the north in both directions. So, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once? Yep, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Claudia Rogg. I live on Sanborn, 9393. What I wrote down is probably a little bit incorrect because I didn't realize that there was no access to Alaska. I thought that perhaps there was, but I'll go ahead and read it anyhow, just stop me. So 96th Street contains wetlands on its sides and a small stream if you've not been there before. It houses a variety of owls, turtles, which cross between the ponds that are on either side of the road. And others, there's even an eagle family that we've observed there. There are mature trees and wetland plants, ferns, and so on. It would be a significant loss of wildlife and plant habitat to put a road there. And then I also wondered if federal and state wetland protections apply. And then also, what about the setback requirements for 9 additional homes to empty onto a 96th Street? I don't know if there was an impact study done of turning 96 from an eroding natural beauty road, because if you're ever on this road, it kind of drops off. There's a small stream and it's just slowly trickling away. And so what happens when you put a road or a crossing over that stream? As you know, with heavy rain, I don't know how well that's going to hold. So I thought that would be a consideration, if it's even safe to turn an eroding 96 country natural beauty road into heavily trafficked commuter road. 96th Street is a narrow, rural, scenic road with no shoulders, no sight lines, woods on both sides, large trees and heavy erosion on its north side. How would emergency vehicles and more school buses travel on there? You can only travel in one direction safely. There's not enough space for 2 lanes. And what about the increased risk of accidents for walkers, bikers, joggers, children, and people walking their dogs, in addition to wildlife crossings at night? There's a lot of deer and so on. Who would pay, sorry,
I'm sorry, I have to stop you.
can I say one, finish one?
Just, I'll give you
Okay.
10
Who
seconds.
would pay for the upkeep and the widening of that road? Because they would maybe pay for initially putting that in, but eventually you would have to make improvements to that road, right? So I'm guessing they would fall to the township and perhaps to the taxpayer. Just,
All right.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Going once?
So this is nerve-wracking. I was not prepared for this. So.
That's right.
Sarah Armstrong, 9722 Alaska Avenue. I actually have 96th Street right behind my house. And I moved here in 2019, and we moved to a rural community. That was specifically why we came here, also the school systems. I'm assuming you're Leanne? Lene, sorry. We spoke earlier today, because again, I'm not familiar with this process and how this works, but really, you know, I think I'm trying to understand what the master plan is for the community itself. As far as I understood, and I've looked for one day online, you know, this is to keep it a rural area. And in the last year, probably year and a half, we've had probably 5 houses built, and there's plenty more all along the street. So it's just continuing to grow and continuing to evolve, and I understand that we all want to do that, but you know, where I sit and where I bought my house was that we had this rural, I look outside and first I look over Mark and Lois's backyard, and then I used to look into a farm. So I guess I'm asking for the community as a whole. Sorry.
You got a minute.
Okay. What can we do to change this, to slow this down? Because really, at the end of the day, I'm sitting here going, it's all starting to disappear. How do we preserve the ruralness? That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Going once? Going?
My name is Marcia Shaner. I live at 9469 Alaska. As my neighbors have spoken about too, the safety of the roads out there, it is not the same neighborhood. We have cars going by extremely fast now. That did not used to be the problem. I got run off the road the other day on 96 with a car going through. My dog and I were out for a walk. They ran up on, because there are no shoulders, there's no place to go. And this person was not paying attention to what they were doing, ran me off the side of the road as I was on a walk. That is only going to increase if you put more houses out there with more people driving. That road is not adequate for it. Along with being a scenic Bunich road, it just does not make sense for the safety of our community to have those added homes there. We cannot support that system on those roads like they are. We can't even support it on Alaska. I cannot tell you the many times we've asked people, please slow down. And we also have, people that are purchasing land out there to build a home with the understanding that these are the zoning requirements, this is what it's going to be, and then it gets changed. And that isn't fair to the people that are coming out there and who are following the rules.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Once? Twice? One pause. All right, at this time, we will close the public comment period brief up to 2 minutes. We have the meeting minutes from February 2nd, 2026. If there are no changes, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Everly, support by Cutler. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Does anyone have a conflict of interest for any item on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we will move to new business. First item, election of officers. We need to do this real quickly. So we need to elect a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. Thank you. Mr. On a blank.
I'd like to nominate Doug Curtis for chair.
Support.
Hold on, got it right. Everly, Bradshaw, any other recommendations for the chair? Seeing none, and we'll do these as a group, vice chair, Mr. Everly is the current vice chair, but will be leaving the planning commission here shortly to enjoy retirement, so.
I suggest nominating Commissioner Visser for vice chair.
Visser by Bradshaw. Need support? Any support?
Support.
Any other nominations for that? Secretary?
I'll nominate, who's in right now? Diane, are you? Yeah, I'll nominate Diane.
All right, so Cutler by Clement. Support?
Support.
Any other nominations for that? Now's your time to get someone back.
Well, Stan's not here.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, so the motion, or the elections will be Curtis for chair, Visser for vice chair, Cutler for secretary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. We are good for another year. All right, item 6B, preliminary site condominium request, Alaska Trail, 7831 96th Street, parcel 412327, 200-046, applicant CBH Building and Development, agent Excel Engineering, who are here tonight. Ms. Linne, give us the short version.
Okay, this is a request for a residential, single-family site condominium project. We heard public comment today. The subject property is 26.6 acres. It's zoned rural residential. There's also a cell tower on the property that I just want to make sure we're aware of. There are a proposed 9 home sites. All of the home sites meet the area requirements of the RR zoning district, which is a 2-acre minimum. Some of the lots are larger than 2 acres. There's a private road proposed. It's a wooded property. There would be a master deed and bylaws with a homeowners association. They would be in charge of maintaining their private road. The private road meets the requirements of our zoning ordinance. I did speak with our township engineer about the wetland crossing, and he believes that would receive a permit from Eagle. The stage that we're in right now is preliminary site condominium, meaning that the applicant would be, if this moves forward, they would be able to pursue more detailed engineering plans and pursue all the permitting that's required before any final site condominium. I think there's confusion. I spoke to some people today. They thought condominium and thought apartment buildings. But I explained that a site condominium is a way to divide land. It's not related to a house typology. So I just want to clarify that for everybody. So the applicant isn't asking for anything above and beyond what is required. We do not require sidewalks because they have 9 parcels. We do have conditions that they obtain all necessary permits. We are not in control of 96th Street. That is the County Road Commission. And they're the ones who established the Natural Beauty Road designation. And I think that that designation process also requires signatures from property owners. So it was something done, outside of the township's purview. At your desk is a suggested resolution for approval of the site condominium. We do have conditions that they meet all the requirements of our township engineer, that there be a maintenance agreement for the private road, that the township attorney reviews the master deed and bylaws. I just want to add one item, and I wasn't able to locate the approvals for the cell tower that's there. I would just add a condition that, you know, we wouldn't want to create any non-conforming situation if there was something in the conditions of the cell tower, say that there couldn't be a house within the fall distance of that tower or something like that. I would just want to make sure that there's a condition that should this move forward, this project move forward, that either the lot lines, the lot configuration, or the home placement, or any other site feature does not create a nonconformity with respect to the cell tower approval. I hope that makes sense. I mean, I can clarify too if I need to. But they have created like, there's a separate cell tower easement that has been recorded that's around the tower. It's on the screen, just kind of to the left of the screen. But I haven't had a chance to pull up that easement or review the language there. So I just want to make sure that there wouldn't be any kind of non-conforming situation. But I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
And this is currently zoned rural residential.
Currently zoned rural residential. They're proposing to keep it rural residential. It's master planned as,
I assume rural
Yeah.
residential. The big
it's
map's
master
behind
plan
you.
for, hold on 1 second.
The big map's behind you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's master plan rural residential as well. So they're not asking for anything that is different from what our zoning permits them to do.
All right, any commissioners have questions for Lene before the applicant hops up?
Well, I guess I did have a question. So they're complying with all of the requirements of rural residential, but they're setting it up as a site condominium. What does that gain them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you might have noticed there was a memo on this in your packet too for the Joint Planning Commission meeting. So right now, the Michigan Land Division Act allows a property to be split without going through a platting process or the site condominium process. The land division process would allow a property like this, and now I haven't done the research on this one, but a property like this at 26 acres to be split 4 times. And then if they're only doing one driveway off of a main section line road or main road, they would get an additional bonus split. So they could do 5 lots, regardless of what our minimum lot size is. So they would just divide it, you know, maybe 5 5-acre lots. When you do it via a site condominium, you can have as many splits that would fit in that land area, given the minimum acreage of RR. So in this case, they're fitting as many as they can in the 26 and getting 9.
Thank you.
The new Land Division Act that is coming in March 27th of 2027, that's being changed for all of Michigan. And instead of 4, it will be 10.
So I have that in my commissioner comment section, so
Yeah.
we'll circle back on that.
Yep.
So in the future, come March 2027, which means we have to update things if we need to update
Yeah.
things, they would be how many acres is this, 29?
26,
26? They'd be able to split it 10 times.
10 times, into 10. Mhm.
Now, we have minimum acres that's still allowed at 2-acre lots in rural residential. So at the most, they would ever be able to get 13 minus,
They'd probably be able to get 11 next year, 11 or 12, because you still get the bonuses, so you get 10, and then you get a bonus, you get one bonus for every 10 acres over 10 acres, so that would be 11. And then you get a bonus if you only have one curb cut, so that's 12. So they could do 12 2-acre lots next
If-
year.
if they had the space.
If they had the space, and they have 26 acres, so 12 times 2 is 24.
Subtract the road,
Yeah.
subtract what
Yeah.
setbacks, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
they could do that by right. They wouldn't even have to come here. The only thing they would have to come here for those 11 or 12 would be the private road.
Right. So they would actually, it'd be a little different, right? Because you wouldn't have really a private road that would be a common element anymore. What you would have is you basically have each parcel would be deeded to the center of the road, okay? So then really, so it changes your minimum lot sizes, right? So now you're not, you have a 2-acre lot size, but you end up with a minimum effective, usable acres of 1.4 acres, or 1.8 acres, right? Because each piece goes to the center line of the road, so you lose, 33 by 100 or 200 feet, right? Whatever your frontage is on that road. So it's gonna be different, so they wouldn't have to come to us now, and there wouldn't be a master deed and bylaws. All they would have would be a private road agreement.
Yeah, there'd be a private road agreement, maintenance agreement, and we'd look at the design of it. With a project, I think with fewer than 15 lots, I think it's only reviewed by the engineer and the planner and the fire department. Yeah. We would require sidewalks on that road, though.
Right, that would be,
It's just another conversation.
we normally don't have a house full of people, so if you were here for the first meeting, I really do appreciate everyone here to understand the issues that we wrestle with at this point. If this was in 27, it would go in and we'd have no say over it, type of thing. That's what that's what the planning commission's job is to look foresight in ahead. And we were looking at industrial architectural standards for at least a year and a half. We brought it up for those who were at the previous meeting. So, wow, that's a big change. Not related to this project. This project is 9 units, 26 acres. At this time, we'll ask the applicant or the representative to come up. On your way up, do you have in your possession or received the Caledonia Township Planning Commission letter from February 9th, 2026, which is also the recent Corhorn dated February 5th? And they wouldn't have the Micah Myers, correct?
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, the township planner and the engineer's memo.
I have those, yes, they're
All
right
right,
here.
any issues with anything on there? Let's start with what you have a problem with.
Well, that's not usually the way I start.
Well, we
One
don't
thing
wanna
that I
be
did
here all
notice
night.
that between the planner and the engineer, the sidewalks are conflicting with whether or not they're required or not. I'm assuming Linnaeus is the driving force there. But that's the only thing. Yes, as Linnae said, we're in the preliminary world at this point. Everything the engineer is bringing up is normal stuff that has to happen after this preliminary approval step. And from a design standpoint, we recognize that sometimes there's changes that occur at this meeting. So we don't go full speed ahead until we know where we're going, so that we don't undo things later after a meeting like this. We have done preliminary work, so when you're looking at things like stormwater detention, you can see that right in on there, and I'll keep, unless you
Can you
wanna go
zoom-
back to that first.
Lene, can you zoom that out? please?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying.
It's backwards and upside down. You'll never move it the right direction.
Well, mine's right. I like that right now. Okay, so, yeah, so we have on this site not proposed 9 lots. The minimum is the 2 acres. We're showing only a couple of them at 2 acres. Some of them are fairly large, particularly 1 and 2, and that's because of the cell tower. I think it's important to understand where that is, so that if you're not familiar with it, the drive for that cell tower comes all the way back from across the neighbors to the west. And I have this here, which you're probably gonna wanna zoom in, but that'll kind of give an idea of what's happening there. Alaska's over here, this is 96th Street, and the cell tower crosses those 2 properties over to where it is in the center of this. Note, I think that this is good for you to see, that the parcels around here have been split in the past, and they're about the same size as what we're proposing in this development. And so even though it's site condo, it's not going to look different than what's already there in this original parcel that was done by Yonker ages ago. Or actually, I think the date on this is in 24, so maybe it's not that long ago. So let's talk now a little bit, try to answer some of the questions that the residents had. I think that I love it when people talk and ask good questions. I think there are some really good questions here. Lene touched on it slightly, but 96th Avenue, we don't have any control over that. That is a Kent County Road Commission road, and it's really up to them whether or not that road is safe or not safe. They can tell us that we need to do certain things at our intersection, and they have to provide us the ability to have some sort of a road there. We've chosen this location because it has the best sight distance, and that's what we're kind of looking for. But that's not something that I can really do much with. That's a Kent County Road Commission thing, and I would petition them if you want to have that upgraded from if there's erosion. I'm sure I wouldn't want that if I lived down there either. Who owns this road that we're proposing? As Lene said, this is a private road. So the way this works is the 9 homeowners within this development will pay dues annually. And those dues will be to plow that road, maintain that road, and replace that road. And so they're paying for that road. So yes, the county has nothing to do with the road. That is all these 9 owners. And in some respects, if you think about that, that's not a bad way to go for a site like this, where they control that, and they can make sure that it's maintained, where 96 they can't control, and that's a county thing. Fire and buses, that's always a good thing. I have a special heart for firefighters. I can always talk about that later if anybody wants to, but you've got to keep them safe, and you got to get people to the houses. We had a house in our neighborhood burned down in March of last year, and they're finally getting it built back up, and you'd have about 10 minutes to get out, so just get out. Not a good situation. This will be reviewed by the fire chief, and we will have whatever they need in order to make that happen. And if, for example, they start talking about 96th Avenue, they would be good people to get involved with when you're petitioning the road commission if you want to have an upgrade there. Trash bin locations, I would imagine this is like any residential neighborhood where people have individual bins, and they would pull them out to their road. I don't think they would require them to be pulled all the way out to 96. I think homeowner number 5 would complain greatly over that. or get a workout, one of those two. But each home would have trash bins, just like everybody has in their neighborhoods. Who surveys the property? XL Engineering has surveyed this property. There's been Yonker who's been on this site before. It looks like if somebody has a desire to have our company hired to locate property lines, we're all for that. Interior to the site is where this work will occur. I don't think there's very much that's going to occur along lines, but certainly where we're getting close to the lines, those lines will be adhered to. Drainage route, I think that's a great question. Water currently drains kind of down to the southwest, comes down here and then runs along 96 and then heads south from there through a culvert. What we're proposing to do is, yes, we need to have EGLE permit in order to be able to cross that wetland. It's a regulated wetland. I had somebody in the office start drawing some stuff up for that permit process. I think we're to the point where we can make that move, and that will take some time to get, but we will fill only what we have to in order to be able to get the road built and a culvert built crossing that. A lot of times, EGLE will require that width to be very minimal, and we will work with them to do exactly that. Yeah, so we're collecting water and we're bringing it down to this area, which will be a dugout area for stormwater detention. And then it releases, and if you aren't familiar with stormwater detention, and I'm mostly speaking for people behind me, stormwater detention is a township requirement that we do. And honestly, I think all of us engineers in the office would do it even if we didn't have those rules. What it does is it makes the water leave this pond or this detention basin. I don't think it's going to be wet, so I won't picture it as a pond. It will leave that detention basin at a rate equal to and probably less than what it would do today without it being there, even undeveloped. The rules today are very, very tight, and we look at different storm volumes, and so it's not just even a big outlet in the end. Maintenance will always have to occur on a stormwater detention basin because those rules today are so tight. Sometimes you get outlets that are an inch or less, and you start thinking about the sizes of leaves, and I kind of cringe sometimes at what some of those rules are, but that's why they're there, and that's what we do. I think that covers the things that I was hearing from the audience for the cell tower. I looked at that too today. I don't know if you're looking at these plans too close, but it's not my name on these. I'm Rob Lamer. I should have probably said that at the beginning. I know a lot of you guys. I'm filling in for John Mail, who's enjoying a vacation somewhere nice and warm. That cell tower there is about 180 feet tall. And I asked John on the way home today, I said, what's the distance away? Because I was looking at the easement. We do have the easement. It's not very clear in the easement what the distance of homes away should be, which is honestly probably something they should have in something like that. I worked with cell towers before around our school, and I know that they don't really have a fall distance, but if the tower did have a fall distance, that'd be 180 feet, and we have room on lot 2 and certainly lot 1 to be able to make that work if that's how the rules work. Then we'll shrink up the setback lines if when we come to that number, but that's why lot 2 is so large. We don't intend to change the drive to the cell tower. The access point is where it is, and it's built. It looks pretty much like a good gravel road, probably as good as 96. And there we go. So if anybody has any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And we have the owner here too. I don't know if he wants to say anything, but there we go.
I just wanted to point out, Lene's memo recommends waiving the sidewalks. So
Right.
she was not requiring sidewalks in
Right.
there. It was just
Right.
we get that between the engineer and the planner, just confirming that what's required and what needs to be happen in this situation.
I just wanna make sure the motion fits that.
It's right in there, so.
All right, good.
Did you wanna say something? Make it quick, please.
Real quick. So Brian Hoblob, CVH Building and Development, so I just wanted to, just so you have a name with a face, so I've been a builder developer for 25 years here in West Michigan, so I am local, I actually live in Caledonia for over 20 years, so I have a vested interest in making sure that, you know, obviously this is a high standard that's maintained for Caledonia. I just finished up another development in Gaines Township, all those homes were at least 500,000 and up, so, you know, we're not gonna be building like a production style home, these are high-end homes. They're very much gonna be in line with JTB and what they're building there, those are $700,000 to $800,000 all day long. So we're not gonna be building anything that's gonna be deterring from the values of the properties around there. I also have another one in Byron Center as well, a 425 unit counted development. So I'm very familiar with Reese McCorhorn and making sure that we're in compliance with the engineers and what their requirements are, so we're familiar with that. I did just quick want to mention that I did personally walk the wetland area with, we had Bar Engineering. They're a third party that comes in and actually did the wetlands study and delineation. So it was not just, you know, happenstance or just, hey, we think it's here. It's actually been determined where those are at. And obviously we want to make sure that we're in compliance and protecting those as much as possible. So that's why we decided to make sure that this was the least amount of impact on the wetlands. And one of the questions was whether the road would cross the creek. The creek is actually down closer to the bottom of the swale. So, yeah. So basically, down here is where that little stream is right now. So we actually chose the area that would not cross that to try and also, again, limit impact on the environment, which is the same idea here. One of the reasons why we did not choose to come over in this area was because this is the low area. And so from a sightline perspective, that was a life safety issue, 1. 2, then we would have to cross more of the wetlands. And then 3, because of the easement for the cell tower, all of their infrastructure clearly states that you cannot change the grade. So if you see how these dashed lines, that is a very steep incline in and out of the property. And if you come into a low area, especially during the winter, we felt that would be a slide off potential hazard coming across the street, whereas where we've got it proposed would be the safest route for people to ingress and egress, especially also for life safety vehicles. So that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that people were aware of, that we did do an environmental study related to the wetlands and that we're going to comply with Eagle to make sure that we're protecting them. So unless there's any other questions, that's all I had.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Sure, I'll go first. Thanks. My questions really have to do with level of detail of a preliminary site condo review. I mean, I'm wanting more detail. I'm not finding a lot of clarity in what is or isn't required in a preliminary site condo in the ordinance. It just basically says if the planner thinks it's complete, it's complete. So, I would love to see grading, like how many trees are you gonna clear? How deep is the storm sewer?
Yeah, are we seeing this again?
So you would see the final site condominium. So it does come back to you once they do more detailed plans. But on page 29-2 is the list of application requirements. So basically the layout and dimensions, building envelope, the use and occupancy, a stormwater drainage plan, including all lines, swales, drains, basins, and other facilities and easements granted. A utility plan showing the location of all water and sewer, but we don't have that. A narrative about the project, a narrative about water and wastewater facilities, street construction, paving, and maintenance plan, and those are on there. And then we have the draft master deed and bylaws. And then, yeah, it's whatever other information.
Okay. I feel like you met the requirements that are written, and I feel better that I'll get to see it probably 2 more times between the planning commission and the township board. But it's hard for me to. I think the site's gonna look a lot different after you grade the road through, and there's a lot of trees. I mean, they're trees that exist from a farm field, as far as I can tell in the past, but how can we preserve what's there? And and reuse anything that's good. That's really all I've got.
So we could require when they come back a tree clearing plan, you know, that identifies the limits of that. We don't have any ordinance requirements that say, you know, you can't clear cut.
And typically, prospective homeowners like mature trees too, so
Yes.
I assume the developer understands. So,
Most of the trees are gonna be along 96. There's one line right here
Yeah.
where the road is, so this line would have to go, but we wanna maintain everything back here and back here, which is gonna create more buffer between the neighbors. So it's really gonna be where the road is, and a little bit right here on 96. Everything else through here is untouched.
and again, it's just, I don't fully believe that until I see a grading plan, so that's part of my hangup.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Lene, can we,
Can you talk into the microphone that's pointing in the air?
absolutely, thank you. Lene, can we require, landscaping around, on the property lines? So that, the neighbors who seem to be quite close in some places won't be forced to look at this? And then my second question is, can the road actually go right up to the property line?
I did check that and it can.
Okay,
And then in terms of the landscaping, here is what we can do. We can require the site condo to include pedestrian sidewalks, lighting at intersections, green belts, or other landscaping in order to obscure the view of other types of land uses that might be near or adjacent to the site condo, such as commercial or industrial uses, highways, railroads, and the like. Certainly, you know, if there's buffering of the road, and I don't know where you were thinking. The landscaping would be needed to obscure views.
it just seems to me personally, Ms. Story's property line is the entire depth of this property, and she gets to look at new development when she hasn't had to in the past.
We did something similar with Graymore.
Okay.
And it was like 2 rows of evergreens staggered and then spaced 15 feet apart, about 6 feet tall. And we required that those be planted at the beginning of the project, not when the house was coming in, just in case there was some delay. It would give the landscaping some time.
Sure.
I mean, there's no irrigation out there, so it's got to be something that can probably, you know, do well
Right.
without a lot of care.
Thank you.
Is that the sand area or clay area of Caledonia over there?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, so the initial test holes were clay at the surface and then sand down lower.
Yeah, so the northern boundary is where I'm at, and it's similar, it's hit or miss through there.
Okay. Just trying to understand for landscaping.
The county did approve all of the locations for the septic system, so we did find sufficient use of sand for on-site sewage systems.
All right, anyone else? Procedurally, this is not a recommendation to the board, correct? This is just,
Hold on one second, let me pull
The-
that up.
I mean, looking at the Michael
It's-
Myers,
Yeah, it's not a recommendation because the final will go to the township board. It'll go to the planning commission and then the township board. So the preliminary is just a resolution of approval And then when they come back with their final, it comes to you and then the board. So that's when you would recommend it to the board.
Just on the Micah Myers, the February 11th memo, there, page 3, the highlighted alternate language. I'm assuming that bracketed area is not part of the actual, that's just a, no, help me, Mr. Lawyer.
What's that?
See where it says alternate language, it's highlighted yellow?
Oh, I know what that is.
I
So-
assume that's not part of the actual, that's just a
No, it's a
note.
suggestion, yeah. That's, it could be done this way.
Yeah, so V, as it stands, it says, a separate private street maintenance agreement shall be required, and also included in the master deed and bylaws. They have their maintenance provisions in the master deed and bylaws, they don't have a separate agreement. So we could suggest the alternate language that says, in this instance, the private street maintenance provisions may be included in the master deed and bylaws, instead of a separate.
How do we normally do it in the township? I'm just thinking, looking at it farther down the road, so we only have, like, we look at all the private
I think the
roads.
separate one would be fine.
I just want it like consistent across to all,
I don't know offhand how we always,
you know me,
If there's-
consistent, same way.
I
I
think,
would say as a matter of practice, I mean, I would generally include it in the master deed. The
Okay.
Bylaws is where I would put it if it's gonna go in as a site condominium project.
yeah, if it was just a land division with its own road, it would be obviously separate.
Then I
yeah.
would think, right, so I think we'll probably be doing a lot more of these in the future as the subdivision control act changes.
So are we keeping little v or little vi?
I would go with alternate language.
All right, so
So-
we would remove v. A separate private street maintenance
The
agreement
private.
signed by all parties in interest shall be required and shall be subject to township approval. Private street maintenance provision shall also be included in the site condo master deed and bylaws. That's what we're taking out.
You want to
So you're
keep
gonna take
it,
out the first sentence, and then you're gonna take out highlighting and everything after, so you're just left with the second sentence, which says, the private street maintenance provisions shall also be included in the site condominium master deed and bylaws.
yeah.
Then what's vi?
That is that they're revising the plan to incorporate all the requirements of the private street detailed in the engineer's letter.
All right, so taking out just the first sentence. Thank you.
And then we can take out the language on the sidewalks because we can waive sidewalks if there are 10 or fewer parcels. And given that this is a natural beauty road, so that would be on page 5, G. We take out G, 8, G, and yeah, all of G.
Where's h?
H is on page 5.
H we want to keep in.
No, where is it?
That's on page 6.
I have a marked up version. Well, wait a minute, I'm using the February 11th.
February 11th is Micah Myers markups on.
Yeah, we have the red line.
This was what was in front of us
It's right
tonight.
here.
Did
It's
those
new.
changes,
You
did
didn't have a
these,
chance to study it, it popped up.
did these changes get, did the 11th changes get made to this document?
The
Sorry,
11th,
folks.
the 11th changes are, basically you would take action on the red line with our additional red lines. And then, you know, obviously that's the final.
So not this one,
No.
this one.
Yeah, they updated their report on the 11th to incorporate Todd Borman's comments.
All right, my question still stands, H is missing.
I've got
H is
an
on the
H here,
next page.
about site built construction.
Yeah, site boat construction.
Oh, I got what's going on. That's little I, sorry. passes. So I and all of G's gone.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a change to K. Well, this isn't a PUD, this is a site
Like
condo.
condo.
Site condo, isn't there a requirement to have lighting?
There's not. That's in the PUD.
That's in the PUD? Okay. I'd encourage no lighting out there.
Yeah.
All right. All right, procedurally, this document for tonight. So just to recap, master plan, rural residential, currently zoned rural residential, by right 2-acre lots. Minimum. They're only in front of us because of it being a site condo.
Site condo.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I think they've met all the requirements, so I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary site condominium request so that we can get further detailed plans and look into it further.
All right, motion by Bradshaw, support by Visser.
Were you gonna include that condition about the cell tower? Not, that there shouldn't be a nonconformity created?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Is that already in your memo?
It's not.
Okay.
That's why I added
And I
that.
want to include that there isn't a nonconformity created by the cell tower.
Second would be included.
Got it. So we have a motion by Bradshaw, support by Visser with the planner's memo dated,
February 9th.
thank you, February 9th, with condition 8 added about the cell tower not creating a nonconformity, along with the engineer's memo dated February 5th, 2026. And the Micah Meyer, February 11th. Resolution to approve the preliminary site condominium plan.
As modified, right?
As modified.
As modified.
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion?
None.
All right, all those in favor of approving the preliminary site plan, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Unfinished business, we have none. Public comment period, this is your time, 5 minutes. If you have anything you would like to talk about for 5 minutes, we will hear you out.
Tom Bonnigan, Sanborn Court. I appreciate the comment about boundary, and I didn't realize there was precedent in the township for that, for trees. I cover, I don't know, 1,000 feet, whatever's up on the top there, and that'd be greatly appreciated. There is some scrub trees. There is, in the northwest corner, that's a nice swale of trees and so on, so I am kind of curious to the question as far as, clear cutting and things like that. And then that's number 5. And then 6 and 7, there are some trees that come south of my property line, and but they're kind of small and scrub trees. There's a few maple trees starting to pop up, but yeah, anything would be of great appreciation and help there. I do have a question, and I don't know if this goes to a point of order or not, but this is labeled as a private road, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I know there was no requirement for notice given to residents within 300 feet. in the prior meeting, in your joint meeting, it was brought up that special uses require notice be given to the public for 300 feet. And in chapter 5, page 3 of the master plan, the second full paragraph there, private roads may be permitted, this is talking about in the farmland preservation and future use, about private roads being used, permitted as a special use. And I'm just wondering if you could help just clarify that. That seems like an inconsistency, and maybe it's not, but I'm just curious.
That applies to the farmland preservation
Which
zoning.
this is designated as.
No, this is rural residential.
What about your future land use map from 2024?
That would be if they, well, we have to look at it. Hold on, Tom.
I'm just asking, I mean.
I'm
That's
pausing.
sometimes a master plan has concepts and ideas that don't get implemented in our zoning book, right? Master plan is kind of policy guidelines.
Okay.
And it often sets a framework for future zoning amendments. In the case of that item, the zoning book was never changed to require public notice of those.
No, that's fine. I'm just
Yeah.
asking. Like I said, I've read this a few times, just asking the question. So, no, I appreciate that. I didn't know. And the only thing that piqued my interest was the discussion in the last meeting. So, just wanted to ask about that. But yeah, if there's anything that can be done for first a couple rows of trees staggered, that would be absolutely amazing and greatly appreciated. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
I'm Brittany Story, and I do really appreciate your comment on possibly providing a barrier of trees along that road that shares a large part of my property line. I have two concerns regarding that. It's just 20 feet from my property line, so I'm just wondering how that would be possible for them to build a road without excavation or debris being pushed onto my property if that's such a narrow stretch. And then also how would that nature barrier of trees be able to fit on a 20-foot stretch of land between my property line and then the road? So those are my two questions.
Thank you.
Commissioners, just to clarify, you did not require any tree planting.
But we get to see it again.
Not
Yep.
at this stage, right?
Correct.
We don't have a, this is just.
You don't have the grading plan
We
and
don't
all
have
that.
grading, none of that. None of it would make sense at this point.
Yeah, and I guess to answer your question, Ms. Story, I believe it's, let's see, 66, it'd be 46. There should be about 23 feet from the property line to the edge of the road before it starts to curve away. And in a lot of urban areas, there's large mature oak trees between a sidewalk and the curb. So if you can do that within 5 feet, it's possible. But we need to see a grading plan and have this more thought out, and there's not enough detail here yet to ensure what's gonna happen next.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Anthony Hogan, I'm in Graymore. I don't live near this area whatsoever, but just in this conversation, two things came up to me. One, love the conversation about the trees. Being in Graymore, where it was mentioned that we've got those trees. In the winter, trees are great for sound as well as light, as well as what you see, except in winter in Michigan. Everything goes dormant. Might as well just have a clear view. We're getting hit with that at Graymore for the new M37 coming in, when we talked about sound and things like that and all the information they had for those things, didn't care whatsoever. So I just caution, when you hear, yes, you'll get some trees, or you might get some trees or things, it may not help you whatsoever in what you're doing, because it's what's proposed is not the reality of it. It's a great headline, but it's not a reality. Secondly, just as a question, because I don't understand, I've lived all over the country, different states, different neighborhoods, all with a focus on community and taking care of the people, the residents, so they're safe and the kids can walk around, things like that. I know that, I guess if I heard it right, you can have, if you have less than 10 homes, you don't have to require a sidewalk. And it seemed they were pretty excited about not doing a sidewalk. Why wouldn't Caledonia, when I heard earlier in the previous meeting talking about we're investing in the community, we want to make sure residents are safe, they have places to walk, things of that nature. The road that they're walking on right now, of course, doesn't have a sidewalk. The 96, where everybody's concerned, there's not a safe place around the shoulder, at least from what I was picking up on that. Why wouldn't you in residential areas start pushing or mandating more of those types of things that makes the community more of a safe place where kids know where to walk, not in the street, things like that? I just raised that as a point, because where I've been before, it's always the nicer neighborhoods and things always have sidewalks, and this one seemed very excited to not. So I thought that was just interesting. So just a point.
Short answer is that we do push it, but there is a lower cutoff.
But it's a decided waiver, is what you said.
Well,
So
first
you-
off, hold on.
Yeah.
You had your moment to speak. This is not a debate tonight.
I'm not debating, I was quoting her.
Your time to talk is ended.
Oh, great. Okay,
ended
thank you.
it. We're going to answer the questions for you.
Sure.
Otherwise, we'll be here all night with it. Whether you think you're debating with us, if the question comes back. Go ahead, Mr. Everly.
Just to say, we are fairly strict on sidewalk requirements. There's a past practice that we have allowed developments with less than 10 not to put in sidewalks. And a big part of it is it starts to really affect not just the builder, but the homeowners after the fact. When you only have 9 homes on a street, you don't have the traffic levels that you do in, say, Jasonville, where there's 100 cars an hour going up and down. So that's why there is a lower cutoff that we're allowed to do, and we typically do when we get to the neighborhoods that small.
And we've talked to neighbors who live in the larger lots, 2-3 acre lot neighborhoods. And they have told us, we don't want sidewalks. We want the rural character in those areas. So in the smaller lot sizes, that's where they want to see the sidewalks, as it's more traffic and that type of items. But the larger ones, the residents are telling us they don't like it in theirs. With that comes maintenance, and they don't want the maintenance of it, as no one's using the sidewalks, is what they're telling us. Anyone else?
I do not live on Alaska, although I used to live in the very area with some of these people that I didn't even know were going to be here tonight. I actually stayed because of the first meeting, so it's kind of near and dear to my heart, even though I don't live there anymore. But the only thing I was thinking as I was just sitting here observing, I don't have an opinion one way or the other. But here's what I would say. With all the subdivisions and everything that are building in Caledonia, I know that I got hit, and again, I don't know the engineering roles, I don't know the developer roles, but I got hit with a huge drain commission tax bill on Cherry Valley. And it wasn't a result of anything the people in the neighborhood did. It was a direct result of new subdivisions coming in, and then engineers saying, hey, water runoff here. And again, I think we have brilliant minds who have the best of intentions to make sure water is running where it needs to. But at the end of the day, water ran rampant into a farm field that ultimately affected Cherry Valley. And I got hit with a $2,500 bill, and I live a mile and a half down the road. My point being is for developers and for engineers, let's just make sure that when runoffs are happening and all that, that it's legitimately not going to affect these people long-term, that now something else has to happen and the drain commissioner comes in and says, well, now we're assessing you this because this didn't work out the way we thought, because that is literally what happened on Cherry Valley. So I just wanted to put that out there as just a observation as I was sitting here, so.
Thank you. I'll say something about that. So unfortunately, the drain commissioner, we have absolutely no control over. The drain that was affected goes all the way out, please help me, to 100th Street?
Yep,
So.
they're digging a detention pond there now.
So we've had people here before upset at us for approving that, and we had nothing to do with that. And
That's the Kent County Drain Commission.
Kent County Drain
Right.
Commissioner, who's elected,
Right.
by the way. So remember that when the election comes up. But that being said, how long have you lived out here? Help me.
25 years.
Okay. Yeah, that road's been flooding for 25, 30 years, if not longer. It flooded before Jasonville was put in, it flooded before Glen Valley put in. It's been a problem for a long time, and it's now addressed. We can disagree with the cost and the solution of it, but there definitely was a problem that's existed for a long time, outside of the township's control, by the way. I don't think the township was real happy that their citizens got tagged
Yeah.
as hard as they did.
From what I recall, the township paid at least 90,000 and maybe even $500,000. There was a significant assessment to the township to make everyone else's assessment less. So we have limited funds as well, of course, so we felt it in the pocketbook.
Thank you. Sorry. Anyone else? You got 5 minutes if you move.
Sorry, so I'm very unfamiliar with all this process, and so I just wanted to ask, going back to that 96th Street, and I know that's not technically something that you can decide over, but has it ever happened that the road commission has said, you know, this road really doesn't accommodate that many houses, you're not gonna be able to use that? What happens then? Do you determine a different ingress and egress road, or what happens at that point? Never happened.
I don't believe that the road commission weighs in on land use. I think that their jurisdiction is just the transportation facilities and not the use of the land around them.
Okay, because it's drawn in to
They,
have that.
they do, they do pay attention to the driveways, anything that touches their facility, like 96. And they give permits for those, so they're gonna be required to get a permit and design that driveway and that approach according to the standards of the county.
Mhm. So they would never say that's too many houses for
No.
a small country road?
No.
Okay, all
Do
right.
you remember when they used to have that railroad trestle crossing over in Cascade Township, over by the river? Where the road would come down to a single lane
On Buttrick.
and right on Buttrick?
Oh,
It's
yes,
still
of
there.
And only
course.
one way of traffic?
Still
to
there.
go?
Right,
there.
right,
Oh, it's still there?
Yes.
So the answer is no, they don't care.
okay. So they would just turn a natural beauty road into a more developed road to accommodate the houses rather
They're
than
gonna do
other
whatever
ways.
the Kent County Road Commission does, whatever the Kent County Road Commission does.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
I live on a gravel road too, and I mean, you're either gonna be on a gravel road until Kingdom Come, or they're gonna pave it over and you're gonna get a special assessment,
Okay, all right. Thank you.
so.
Anyone else?
I have a question. This might not be the place to ask it, but kind of going back to the drainage question. So we have a retention pond in our property, which obviously rises and falls as right now it's happening. It's starting to go up because all the snow is starting to melt. And I suspect Tama's probably going to be taking cover pretty quickly because if we get dumped on again, it's definitely going to overflow and it's going to go to her house. So I have no idea really what I'm looking at. So I don't know if you can explain it, but how does that, you said it drains out to 100th Street? Is that what I heard? That this is eventually, all the drainage will hit 100th?
So, yeah, so currently the flow, whether something's there or not, is going to 100th Street. It just naturally is going to get there, correct, Tom? It goes out that direction? You've lived there longer than anyone, so.
I mean, the Thorn it's right
The-
there. It's going to the river.
It's going to the river at some point.
Correct, but
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that it comes to my house first. And that's what I'm trying to understand, is
And-
the
and-
direction that it would flow and how it hooks up to it.
And part of the problem, this is at the point, we're preliminary,
Mhm.
as Commissioner Bradshaw stated, we don't have the design drawings, we don't have the elevation. The drain isn't in the bottom of the detention pond, it's up in the air. So the detention pond's gonna hold X amount of water. We don't have any of that information yet
Okay.
to know how much water, and then the detention pond has to be designed X big to hold X amount of water, so it doesn't overflow, and then it's released at a controlled rate. That's all in the design drawings
Okay.
stage. We don't have that. Commissioner Bradshaw wanted it, but it's not required at this stage. But when it comes in, our resident civil engineer will be taking a really good look at
Okay,
it
good,
for you.
yeah, because I think that's one of the things that I'm personally concerned about is just how that's all gonna work.
And we are too, because guess who you call? You call the township and complain that there's water coming on your property that's never been there before. So we hear you, and that's the job of the commission, is to make sure that doesn't
All right,
happen,
thank you.
to the best of our ability. Anyone else?
One more. Sorry, I'm at 9644 Alaska Avenue, so right at the end of the road there. I'm just curious, we were told that once a site has been divided, that it can't be divided again for 10 years. I don't know if that's true. But then if they use the word condo, that is a way to get the loophole in. When you think of a condo, you think of, not very many acreage and a lot more dense development, I guess. So is that how they're getting it through, saying it's a condo rather than a home? Just
No, I
curious.
think we're confusing it's hard because the language is so different in different parts of
Thank you.
the country, and, where I grew up, when people said condominium, it was like, it evoked a multifamily, multi-story development. But in Michigan, a condominium is a tool for dividing land so that people can buy and sell land. And there's site condominiums, which look like lots, or there's traditional condominiums, which would be just the area, the space within the walls of a building, like a strip mall, has separate condominiums, so they can sell those individual units. In Michigan, we have, I think, 3 ways to divide land. We have a land division, which, yes, you cannot re-divide within 4 years or 10 years. So that's a land division. We have condominium, so site condominium or traditional. And then we have platting. So like a plat would be, it's a more cumbersome process that requires higher level of review, but it basically results in the same thing. Often there's public roads with a plat versus private roads. So in order to divide this, since they already did land division, they had to pursue the site condominium route. But nevertheless, they're only doing the number of units that can fit according to our code that says 2-acre lot minimums.
And on top of it, come March 27,
Yeah.
that would just go away.
Yeah, maybe they decide to wait. I don't know. But yeah, so that's going to change things.
Anyone else?
We're just wondering.
Yeah, you gotta come up to the microphone, otherwise it's not on the record.
In 2027, is all of that null and void then, as far as dividing in 10 years?
That's a really good question. That is a question that we have not, we don't have the answer to that. And that's a question I'm being asked in my other communities as well. And we had a meeting with our township manager and our assessor and our zoning administrator, and that was a question we all have. The act in Michigan, the Land Division Act, the governor just signed that change about a month ago. And we have a year to prepare for it. And I believe that they're probably gonna be issuing some clarifications on just what that means in terms of the redivision process. So I don't know.
I work-
Maybe one of you, no, I don't know.
No, I don't, but I do work in the accounting industry now, and it's very typical for our government, our elected officials, to come up with a really good idea in their mind and create a law, and then they give absolutely no guidance on how to implement it, and it's left for the departments in that to issue guidance out on how things should be interpreted.
And then it's up to attorneys to fight it. And the courts
And then-
to decide it.
So, you know, from the joint commission, like, meeting prior, that was actually my bigger concern was, wait a minute, what is this new thing coming up that, are we gonna end up with more houses than what we really wanna have? And how can we get in front of that, right? That's what us planning commissioners think about. We all live out here, you know? A lot of us lived here before a lot of developments went in. I can name a whole lot of people who are like, man, I wish Jasonville wasn't here, I wish Glen Valley wasn't here, wish Graymore, I'm just naming the big ones, right? Or the golf course. So we've all seen development happen, it's just a matter of what is the right way to do it, what's the right way to implement it across the township, so it does attempt to keep the rural nature while still respecting landowners' rights to their property. They've owned and paid taxes on it a long time as well. And there's been a saying, not my saying, but if you enjoy the view, you better own it. I'm very much, honestly, I wish I owned 800 acres and my house was sitting right in the middle of it. I like y'all, but I don't want you that close.
We'd be happy if that was true too.
So, yeah, come on up, and then if there's no more after that.
Hi, I'm Bryce and my wife Julie over there. We live on 9395 Sanborn. And just a quick question, if something like this were to go through, would it potentially bring natural gas to the area? I'm not sure how any of that works, so just curious.
We've had some preliminary conversations with the utility provider and are in discussions on potentially what that would look like. So they're developing a cost right now. So it's possible.
There you go, possibility. But again, we're not the Public Service Commission, so we can't tell them to do it. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Commissioner comments, you already heard mine about we need to address whatever's coming as soon as we get guidance on that. Any other commissioner comments?
Congratulations on your elections for those of you. Really excited for you. And it was fun to have an audience. I hope that it continues in the future.
Yes. Seriously, thank you for coming. Thank you for being willing to understand the process, the questions that we go through, and that, anyone else?
I would like to thank everybody for all the things you taught me while I'm on the commission. I may or may not be here for another meeting. I think Brian's told me he's found a replacement, but it needs to be, that person needs to be appointed before they can come to the meetings. But I really appreciate all of you and have enjoyed being part of this. And I wish you well on the future.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank you.
service.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And to the public, we're always looking for planning commission. Please reach out to Supervisor Harrison and have a discussion with him. Ms. Linne, correspondence, staff updates, none? I saw there was something in our packet about,
Oh, just an updated contact list and
And-
then training opportunities. And we will have a meeting, March 16th is our next meeting, a month from today.
okay. All All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll support that.
Motion by Everly, support by Bradshaw. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.